Welcome back to United TV, latest Manchester United news. We're going to cover a couple of stories, but as always, make sure you get your comments and questions in. We're going to be looking at Matheus Fernandes to Manchester United. I think lots to talk about Matheus Fernandes and Spurs' interest, which I have seen covered a lot on YouTube, but I'm just going to be saying that Spurs, I don't think Spurs could hijack a thing at this point in time. They've got literally nothing to offer apart from maybe trying to throw money at deals. The DIOMANDE situation with Liverpool is a bit of a concern because it does raise questions about whether Man United are actually serious about some of these bigger targets. And this is going to be a story which I think Liverpool spent very big last year. They're looking at spending, I think we talked about Diomande actually in January, and we looked at him as a player that Pavel really likes and as a Manchester United target. And he was probably the most expensive we were looking at in terms of like left wing, right wing attacking targets. And he's going to be rumored to like the cost was supposed to be about 85 million euros, about 100 million. So 100 million euros, actually 85 million pounds. Liverpool already offered that amount of money and had it turned down. And it looks like they're going to be going in with a crazy high bid of 115. So if you thought the transfer window was a bit broken, it will definitely be broken very soon with a 150 million euro offer for a player that's played one season in the Bundesliga is crazy. I mean, he's a very good player, but we're looking at insane amounts of money changing hands. So anyway, I'm just going to go through the main stories and say for me, I don't think Man United are going to be spending crazy money, and I don't think Spurs are going to hijack the deal either. So I know in terms of like this, like if you're new to the channel, we will be trying to talk through the stories. I will get your comments and questions in as well. But if you are new and you find this channel, please subscribe. We're trying to push towards 1K, but please get your questions in as well. And like Yardi said, Liverpool could be the cause. Manchester United, let's be fair to Man United as well. Harry Maguire, £80 million. Anthony, crazy money. Sancho, crazy money, crazy contract. So Man United have definitely, like, I'm not saying we've caused it. We're definitely not really helping push the prices down, are we? So we've been as guilty as anyone in overpaying for players as well. So Liverpool definitely did it last season and are doing it now. This is probably a time when Man United should actually do it. Like we should be trying to actually put some money on the table for some of these players. So what I'll do is I'll pin a link to United TV socials as well. That's something that if you want to get involved in the let's say the TikTok account, that's
The
something
YouTube
that
account.
as well. I will put a link there so people can join that. I might put a poll in the chat as well to say like, are people worried yet, or is it too early to worry? Because I think when a lot of people talk about transfer news, it's only the 20th of June. Like, are people panicking, or is it just do we have to be patient? So I'll just put the link in the chat there. So United TV socials, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, whatever platform you like, I'll just pin that message to the comments there as well. So I'll go, like I said, I'll go through the comments and see what people are thinking. Do you feel relaxed, or are you starting to feel a little bit like Manchester United need to get moving in this window? So, like I said, the Diomande deal, Liverpool putting down massive money, big offers there. They did it last season as well. Manchester United at the moment, we haven't met the valuation for Matheus Fernandes. Spurs might try and do this as well, but I think with Bilal, actually, there's a certain account that you're not a fan of that might just be missing. So there might be that. So nothing to worry about. Um, so the Diamande fee is something you pay for a lease, a not young lad in a different league. I wish them all the worst. But again, I think with this one, Cody, like Christopher Vavell really rates Diamande. So this is a player that a lot of Man United fans would like to see Man United try and sign as well. I think it's a statement of intent from Liverpool, and that they're spending big. They're doing what Man United used to do. That's what I'm thinking. So, in terms of this one, I don't think we should be. There's nothing positive about Liverpool spending big. If anything, this is a bit of a concern for Manchester United that we do not seem to be doing anything. Yeah, Almiron got a red card for being pretty stupid, from what I saw. Luckily, they're playing against a rubbish team, but that's going to cost them later in the competition. So I would 100% get Somerville over Diomande, considering he's playing in Germany, says Bots fan. Well, I don't know. I don't know. It might be one where like most people would look at Somerville and think he's like, if he was cheaper, maybe. No, like Yardi, I've not seen Man United linked to Somerville since maybe like January, February when he was like one of like I do see people keep talking about him in kind of links to Man United, maybe because Christopher Vivell likes him and he's got the links to Germany. So that's what I'm thinking regarding this situation. So Yanni said, "You'll panic when we pass August the 1st and we've not got a player through the door." And saying to then you're not going to get upset and get angry, call those things out. Do you actually look at thinking along these lines as well? Do you look at the situation now? Manchester United, Matheus Fernandes. Is there any concern with this deal, or is this just media hype? Because do you remember the situation regarding Mbeumo last season? And there was a lot of talk about Spurs trying to hijack the deal. But I think that the difference with this one is Mbeumo came out and said, I only want Man United. And if I don't get Manchester United, then I'm happy to stay at Brentford. That's, as far as I can see, that's the only difference in terms of what's happening. I don't think Matheus Fernandes is actually allowed to come out and say, I only want Man United because of his agent. So I think that the difference is going to be there is that Matheus Fernandes, he hasn't said anything negative, or actually, even though Mbeumo didn't say anything negative, did he? And Matheus Fernandes is not expressing a massive desire to go to Manchester United. As far as I can see, I think most people think that he does want to join United, but I don't see significant kind of stories saying that he only wants United. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be information out there, but again, Fernandes has already said. So yeah, there are some sources out there saying I don't know whether it's been like officially reported or whether it's like a lot of people think that Fernandes just wants Manchester United, and if that's the case, then that's great news for Man United. I feel like Man United have got the power here, and the only story linking Matheus Fernandes to Real Madrid comes from about 10 days ago, when I think the story was that Jose Mourinho was quoted as saying he appreciates that Matheus Fernandes is a good football player. I don't think there's loads of interest in this. There have been a lot of stories regarding Real Madrid, and actually there's a few stories saying that Man United been linked to Camavinga. I think Camavinga seems like a less exciting move. Again, I think Man United might well have actually considered Camavinga as an option as well. Like we're considering a lot of different options, but I don't think he's going to be right at the top of the list as far as I can see. And I don't want to say anything about too many unless there's a significant update. And I don't think there is actually any new information about too many as far as I can see at this point in time as well. Be it to you, Pulp. Hope you're enjoying the World Cup and enjoying. The people got comments and questions. Like I said, it's kind of a bit quiet on some of the news. I think a lot of people are trying to fill in the gaps, and a lot of people on social media are trying to maybe cause concern, and that's why the thumbnail is AI generated, and just to have a bit of variety, we're talking about Matheus Fernandes, but we can cover anything in the window. I have seen another story as well, which might be of interest to Manchester United fans. It's probably not going to be. It's not a feel good story, unfortunately. So a lot of this is that this has been put out there by a couple of journalists as well this morning, saying that Manchester United's interest in Lewis Hall might not be as strong as it's been reported. There's definitely been not a Lewis Hall campaign, but there's definitely been quite a lot of media saying that Manchester United really rate Lewis Hall, and they kind of almost like prioritising him over, over like a left wing signing. And I think a lot of people started. Then there's a lot of stories put out about Dorgu yesterday as well, and the day before, particularly as Dorgu's been playing well in like left wing or right wing position. So there's definitely been quite a lot of media put out about Lewis Hall, and I think also it's quite easy to get on board with that as well because Manchester United, we definitely need a left back. Lewis Hall ticks a lot of the boxes. The only issue really, I suppose, is that Lewis Hall would probably be the most expensive left back we're linked to. But in terms of this one, I would say unless you see a significant update or you see something coming out, I don't think there's going to be potentially a lot of legs in this deal. That I still think that if you're looking at Gordon leaving, you're looking at like Tonali's going to leave, isn't he? Tonali wants to leave Newcastle. He will go somewhere. I just don't know where that's going to be. I think Lewis Hall, Livramento is injured now. I think Lewis Hall is going to be not pushing his way out of Newcastle. So I'm not sure. Man United might have to go quite big to try and get this deal done. So I'm not sure that's going to happen as well. Which do you say, bit to you, Andy, which do you say is good news? Because there's a bit of news coming out, but again, it's like little bits here and there. There's not significant big stories. There's a few stories linked between Manchester United with the academy, and like potentially players were signing for that one, which I think is quite good news. And maybe I'll cover that in a short video. Be it to you, Daz. Good to see you in a live stream, and be it to you, Mark, as well. United Dice says, what are we even doing? At the moment, it feels like Man United are doing things behind closed doors. So every channel that claims to give you big updates, to be honest, unless they're actually an agent for Matheus Fernandes, I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of information coming out from either side at this point in time. That we know that with Mendes, he doesn't really want his clients saying too much at all. West Ham are just keeping things a bit behind closed doors as well. And there are stories being put out there as well. And one of the things regarding this one as well is there's a lot of talk about West Ham's situation financially. And we know West Ham had a bad year. They lost 104 million. People that are thinking that West Ham are going to be suddenly having a closing down sale, that West Ham need to borrow about 100 million. It's going to be relatively easy for West Ham to restructure that deal, to refinance it, to essentially borrow money and then pay it back over a certain amount of time. So it's not a huge amount of money West Ham need to find. 100 million in modern football is not a crazy amount of money. And I don't think West Ham are going to be selling their best players cheap to try and balance the book. So I saw a story this morning, and this is West Ham's owner has no intention of selling players apart from Matheus Fernandes. So the Somerville deal, they're not going to sell him cheap. And if Man United do go for Somerville, they unfortunately are going to have to spend quite big money. So West Ham's owner is going to be easily able to restructure the debt. They can borrow 120 million easily and have a bit more money. So it's not going to be a problem. And then they can pay that off over multiple years. It's exactly the same as Man United paying back a 400 million loan by borrowing 500 million and effectively just pushing the debt a bit, just having a longer term debt. So it's no different. And Manchester United will be doing the same sort of thing. West Ham will be doing the same sort of thing. I think a lot of talk on certain people saying this as well, saying that West Ham need the money desperately. They don't really need the money desperately. They've got ways of getting it. So I think just if we're expecting a good deal from West Ham, don't expect a good deal. But just the way borrowing works, that they can just borrow it. It's a bit like if I need to pay back £100, for example, and I can borrow £120 from somebody and then pay them like £20 per year. It's obviously a small amount of money. For 5 years, 6 years, I end up paying back 120, but I borrowed the money up front. So I don't think West Ham are particularly desperate for the cash. It'd be nice if they were, but you don't spend a lot of time in the Premier League and then not have some sort of financial issues, do you? So, like I said, Lewis Hall, if you see a story saying, no, done deal, deal day, etc., probably not from me unless there's a significant upgrade, a significant outbreak of information. That's all I'll say. It seems that Man United are playing it quite well this window in actually not allowing a lot of information out there. Even Fabrizio is kind of like running out of new things to say about Manchester United, which is probably indicative that there's not a lot out there. But I'll go for some of the comments. Big up to you, Weeders the Bear. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good weekend. I like the fire comments because it's going to be quite fire here in a few days' time, like 30 degrees plus. So today will be like a cool day. So I'll be outside doing a bit of things I need to do. And say, I listened to a West Ham fan channel. They're saying they want to keep the core of the squad. Andy, I think you're spot on. And I think the West Ham community are going to know better than Manchester United fans about what's going on with West Ham. And when we were looking at, when I was probably looking at something similar to what you're saying as well, that in terms of the owner of West Ham, he's pretty much said Matheus Fernandes is the only player they want to sell, really. So Somerville, it's going to have to be a significant offer, which I think is going to mean that Man United don't go for him. Diouf is going to be too expensive as well. Bowen, I don't think is going to leave anyway, based on his age, and West Ham would want a significant amount of money. I think we see Bowen as someone that's going to fire them back into the Premier League anyway. So they're going to want to keep their core team. And I think for West Ham, they want to maybe get a bit of cash into their team. And again, say as a bit of a rebuild, if they can get £70 million from Matheus Fernandes, they might see that as enabling them to spend, maybe get 3 players in, maybe get a few players that are going to be of that sort of 20, 25 million, or even spend a bit big, but spread the cost over a few years. So I think West Ham are not going to be having a big fire sale. I think West Ham are going to get rid of one player, which will be Matheus Fernandes. And so for them, their transfer window in terms of sales and exits might be very limited. It might be that for West Ham, it's just a case of like getting the very best possible price. So if anything, we've probably gone for the one club that is going to hold out for a lot of money because other clubs that are selling multiple players, they're probably looking at it and thinking, actually, let's get some deals moving. I don't think West Ham are going to be spending like big money either. They're going to be going for players that are effectively going to be enough to get them from the Championship back to the Premier League, and they're probably looking at some of the players like Somerville, Diouf. Those players just improve anyway, so they want to keep the core of the squad together. Sensible, actually, I'll say this. It's probably sensible for West Ham keep most of the players together because I think West Ham will bounce straight back up. They were a massively they were a difficult team for Man United to play last season. I don't know what happened at the start of the year when they didn't pick up any points. So I'd be thinking West Ham bounce straight back up, not a problem at all. Um, so has anyone got any comments or questions about anything we're talking about? And again, like I said, the transfer window, anything's on the table. Wizardbet says, my sense is West Ham may not go at 100 million loan, but may encourage the story as an outlier to the clubs thinking they can get their players cheap. They will sell it as maybe a game of who blinks first. So, yeah, I think with this one that I think Man United, I think a lot of it in terms of Manchester United, Matheus Fernandes, West Ham. I suppose the difficult thing is like who's got the power here? Like Man United, we need midfielders, but there's a lot of different players available, and West Ham only have one player to sell. Worst case scenario for West Ham would be a Belieber type deal where they go too high and they don't sell a player. What I was thinking is that with West Ham, there is going to be interest from other clubs, but I don't think it's interest in the sort of price range they want. So if they want to get £70 million, I would honestly say PSG. I don't see PSG spending big on Matheus Fernandes. They've literally got four players already that can play in midfield to a Champions League winning level. Let's put it that way as well. So I don't think it's going to be top priority. We know Real Madrid have got an insane amount of talent as well. I think Real Madrid are looking more at Elise, looking more at players that are going to come in. I think if you're Real Madrid, your transfer window is about winning the Champions League next season. So let's be blunt about that. So looking at buying Matheus Fernandes, as much as Mourinho can talk him up, I don't think Mourinho is looking at let's see which players are going to be good in 2 or 3 years' time. I think Mourinho wants to win trophies next season. So I think Matheus Fernandes, as attractive a player as he could be for some fans, I don't think Real Madrid would be an option where I don't think we're going to see him suddenly going to the Bernabeu. That for me would be unlikely. Maybe Arsenal, but I think if I was Arsenal, again, Arsenal are in a win now mode. I think if I was Arsenal, I would be looking to try and go for someone that's going to be. I suppose actually they've already got a team that's won the Premier League. But I would say I think it's going to be difficult for Arsenal to retain the Premier League based on like some of the things that City and Liverpool are doing. They had a good run last season. I think if the FA adopt the rule changes regarding crowding the goalkeeper, time wasting, I think it might be more difficult for Arsenal. So it feels a bit like some anti-Arsenal rules potentially coming in there, which could make for better football watching overall. That's what I'm hoping. Sanya says we need to get our players and forget about West Ham predicament. I'm just trying to provide a bit of context regarding this one as well. And so they can get that money from other interested parties. Thing is, I don't think there is other interested parties. So I think West Ham are at the table with Manchester United, and I don't think there's anyone else there. I think Spurs are essentially outside, and they want to come in, and they're not allowed to come in. Like there is no interest from Matheus Fernandes towards Spurs. The chance of I don't know the chance of Spurs hijacking this deal. It's similar to I saw a story this morning, and this is one where I saw it and thought I can't really report this, but there was a Twitter account, and they sometimes post out crazy information. And the story they had was Man United considering a move for Vinicius Junior. That's what I saw, and I thought, yeah, that is like so clickbait. And I just when I saw it, I just thought, okay, Vinicius Junior. That's can you imagine? Vinicius Junior is actually looking like one of the Brazil players that's turned up at the World Cup. He's like one of the I don't know most popular players. I just cannot see him ever leaving Real Madrid. of his own free will and essentially not joining Man United. So I saw that and thought, yeah, when there's no information out there, sometimes crazy information gets reported as well. Stephanie says too many incoming. Hopefully, I prefer him over Fernandez. What's the percentage chance do people think for too many? Like, is the too many door creaking open? So whenever I see it, I just think, okay, there was a story yesterday about too many, and I think I did cover it yesterday on the 1 p.m. stream. And the story about too many was essentially that he's been told his future is not 100% secure. So not 100% secure. I'll just put it out on screen actually because I have still got it saved. And this was like from yesterday, and this was related to too many, and it was Manchester United, Liverpool. I mean, where the hell are Liverpool getting this money from? But Liverpool and Manchester United are on alert. Apparently, I mean, what's the best way of it? Man United, if Man United's on alert is like this slow, I don't know what Man United not on alert is. Probably pretty much asleep. But according to this one, he's been told that he doesn't have a guaranteed future. He's not a guaranteed starter at Real Madrid, and it's not a massive stretch, is it? Like Real Madrid have got incredibly. Real Madrid aren't exactly bereft of talent in their squad, are they? They've got Camavinga, you've got too many, you've got Bellingham. They're going to be signing maybe Enzo. They're going to maybe getting other players in as well. So there's so many good players at Real Madrid that I don't think there should be any guaranteed starting players at Real Madrid. So I don't think it's going to be like a big, as they were too ponderous to get. Do you like too many done? Says Rob. Honestly, I'm starting to feel like that way. That why don't we look at 20-year-old Pally as well? Cunha actually, I'll say this: Cunha looked very good yesterday. I know it's only versus Haiti, but no, very like Brazil did what they're supposed to do. They put them away, and Cunha looked like a. I think Cunha is one of these players. I think Cunha will always step up based on his environment. So I don't think Cunha feels the pressure. Like you can see some players. I think Cunha thrives on that sort of environment. And did anyone see? If we're talking about Edison, I didn't see it. I can't remember what time the Brazil game was, but I didn't see it. I saw highlights this morning, and I think people judging 10 minutes of Edison, literally, there's nothing to say, is there? So I saw the same thing. I saw some people saying Edison was bad, and then some people saying Edison was great. And I think Edison came on against Haiti for 10 minutes. The game was already won. What we're doing here? There's literally nothing to say. So I have no opinion on Edison last night. I didn't watch it, and I don't think there's anything to say regarding that at all. Danny B says he played right back. Did he play right back? So I have no idea. But Edison, no, there's no point in talking about Edison at all, is there? Because he played for 10 minutes. You know when the games are finished, and sometimes when the games are finished, like if you're winning 3-1, actually was it 3-1 or 3-0? So if you're winning 3-0, which I think was the scoreline when he came on, then Brazil got the game won. There's nothing more to play for. Haiti might run around a bit, might try and get a consolation, but the game was done. So there's literally nothing to be told. It's like when we do match reactions on the channel, and we look at it and go, okay, Man United, we win the game against Brighton. We look at someone who came on 85 minutes. There's literally nothing to say about him. So, if people wanted to say something negative about Edison, they can do that, but it's pointless because Edison's part of the squad. Brazil had a great win. Everyone plays their part. I don't see there being a problem at all. Edison could play right back. No, I was going to say, is it too many, or is it Camavinga? Is it Camavinga that plays left back as well? So who knows? Who knows? We could get someone like that. So I'm asking for percentages now, and for like too many. Big up to you, Cake in the chat. So Mark says international football, everyone looks decent. Well, unless you play for who is it that's been quite bad? I think South Africa were quite poor, and actually Turkey were quite poor. So if you play for those teams, it's not looking great. I mean, Australia looked a bit rubbish yesterday, but I think USA played quite well. Australia were very close though. Elizabeth says, your fear is United aren't seriously pursuing too many, and say, I cannot for the life of me understand why we are not pursuing Lewis Hall. and giving Luke Shaw a possible 2-year extension. Yeah, that's, do you know what? I have said in the past that I could understand why Manchester United gave Maguire an extension, but you have to look at it as you're kicking the can down the road. Man United need to get a new centre back at some point. We need to get a new left back at some point. These contract extensions are a bit of a concern because it feels like there's no plan, or Man United should be getting a left back that can do more than Luke Shaw does, and Luke Shaw should be that backup. Now we should have someone coming in from the academy or a younger player bought that's going to be giving Luke Shaw a fight to be the backup left back at Man United, and we should have like someone like Lewis Hall or Kadioglu, or there's other left backs available. I know, but Man United should be going for one of them. I think the news story, I think you were in the chat when I put this on the screen, that said Man United apparently, the talk about Lewis Hall is a bit exaggerated, according to sort of newspaper journalists this morning. It might be that way. But based on the too many train, that a few people are in the chat saying that as well. What is people's percentage chance? So I'm not negative about too many. I think too many is a world class player, but I'm very skeptical for a few reasons regarding like Man United's efforts to get too many. If too many is available, then, and this is kind of the worry. So let me just go back to, this might feel like a Dickensian novel where it's kind of a bit random, but it kind of all links together at the end. So Liverpool going for Diomande, okay, that's one story. And that's a player that I know Man United not really going for him, so it's not a big issue. But when it comes down to someone like Too Many, what if Too Many is available and Liverpool are seriously interested? And apparently Liverpool, they seem to be interested in every single target we're looking at. But what's the scenario then? Like if Manchester United look at Too Many and go, yeah, we like Too Many. Oh, his contract's a bit expensive. Like, are we going to be fumbling this deal? If it's seriously on the table, like what is the bet saying? Are Man United serious about this? Because I've been quite generous with Man United and not said too much. The question I've got really is, at the end of the transfer window, we're going to be looking at this transfer window and kind of evaluating it, and we can't really say too much at this point in time, but we can kind of look at the unfolding stories and say, if Manchester United really want Too Many and Too Many is available, do we have confidence that we'll actually get this deal done? I know that it's going to be what's the best way of putting it? It's going to be obviously down to the player as well. And if Man United make an offer for certain players and they decide they don't want Manchester United, there's not a lot we can do about that. So if Luke Shaw resigns, United I die. You see how much money Luke Shaw's getting paid. Like Luke Shaw is going nowhere, nowhere at all. I do agree. I do agree. Like I said, when Maguire got a contract extension, I did say it's about keeping some experience and leadership. No, I'm not saying that's not the case, and the same argument can be made for Luke Shaw. What I'm saying is that if it happens for multiple players, at some point you've got to say, look, where's the centre back that's coming forward to replace Maguire? Where's the centre back where's the left back that's coming to replace Luke Shaw? And say, actually, say who did Switzerland play? And saying he's a very good player. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Actually, there's a player that plays for, who was the game last night? There's a 1-0 game. It might have been Morocco. Who scored the goal from Morocco? Because I think he scored a goal in the first game as well. I mean, that was a finish. Now, there's a few players. I think Switzerland are actually looking quite good. They have got quite a soft group, but there's definitely a few players that maybe we're keeping tabs on. I'll just say this, like Mark, I don't think anybody thinks that Matheus Fernandes with Spurs is like Mbeumo with Spurs. There's no interest from the player there at all. But I think this is just people think that maybe there'd be something happening regarding that one as well. If Delip was not injured, so I think Delip was bought as a replacement for Maguire, and kind of similar, they're decent in the air. They provide a bit of a goal threat when they go forward for set pieces. They're comfortable, and it would be like a mentor for someone like an Aiden Heaven. a Euro. So I think De Ligt was essentially brought in to replace Maguire, and then the injury he got this season effectively meant Man United then extended Maguire's contract. So I think Man United may have got a bit unlucky with that one. But Luke Shaw, I mean, Luke Shaw's needed replacing for a few years. I'm not saying Luke Shaw is like massively terrible, but what I'm saying is that we know that Luke Shaw has had injury issues for at least what, like 5+ years. And it's with Man United. It's like where's the plan? Like we keep buying players that are essentially going to be backups. We never seem to buy someone that's going to be taking his place, do we? I'd say the best teams use progression planning, says Pulp 76. They bring in the replacements for the best players before they sell them. 100%, 100%. And this is what I've been saying for years. Actually, is that when people say get rid of Dallo or get rid of Luke Shaw or get rid of Bruno Fernandes, I've heard that quite a bit as well this season. My reaction is if you think Bruno Fernandes needs to leave Man United, or if you think like Maguire, Luke Shaw, Dallo, these players need to be replaced, you need to get the replacement into that team before that player leaves. If Man United like sold Bruno Fernandes, we've suddenly got a big hole in our team. Particularly if we try and play exactly the same way we did last season, we got a massive problem, and we probably have to spend a fortune trying to fix that problem. And there's no guarantee it will work ideally. But if Man United got a player in, and then Man United, with Bruno Fernandes on the bench, if Man United can actually put out a team that's capable of beating most teams in the Premier League, then we could go, actually, no, if Bruno now moves on, it's not a problem. So I agree, Pops, that we need to do, it feels like we've got so many issues to try and fix that we're in danger of, like, say, I say we're in danger of becoming a retirement home, aren't we? That's the problem. Like for some of these players, it feels like we're not going to let them. Like if we offer Luke Shaw a lucrative 2-year extension, there's literally no way he's leaving the club. And I think what you need to do maybe is bring in a top quality left back who is the first team left back, and then Luke Shaw is a very good backup, like Vril said. He would be a really good left back on the bench as an option as well. So I think that would be ideal. You're saying it's not a perfect world, but you've got to be looking. You've got to be looking Man United, at the moment, United haven't really got that in many positions at all on the pitch, have we? So Cake's saying, yeah, is this the same for most people? Like, if you're looking at what's the priority this window, midfield plus left back for me is like a must sort out. That if Luke Shaw's going to be, like, I don't mind Luke Shaw starting games. I'll just say that as well. I don't mind Luke Shaw starting games. If our midfield's fixed and we've got a lot better options there, that will naturally help our defence anyway by stopping, hopefully closing some of the gaps. And if our midfield functions better, it's going to make our defence actually look better as well. But I think there's no way Luke Shaw starts 50 plus games, is there? And so we either have to have a backup to Luke Shaw that's as good as Luke Shaw, or we have to effectively look for our long term replacement. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Xerxes will be hopefully leaving as well. I think in terms of backup striker, so you're saying backup striker is a priority for you. Xerxes, isn't it? I think unless something happens dramatic, I know we're linked to a few players. Unless the transfer window suddenly explodes into action, I'm expecting Xerxes to be sold and maybe Man United replacing him with another attacking player. There's no guarantee we get another striker, though, is there? I think we should, but there's no guarantee we do go for that. And so, if you want to challenge City and Arsenal, you have to buy too many, and then you have to buy Lewis Hall, non-negotiable. What would be people's, I don't know, like preference? Would you rather Man United get Casemiro? Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think Casemiro was agreed a while ago, wasn't it? There's been a bit of Casemiro stuff out recently, but yeah. Now, what would be people's priority then? Would you rather have Manchester United sign, say, like a lot of players, like a lot of cheaper players, and maybe really bulk out the squad in terms of like how many players you feel can be first team players? Would you rather that scenario, or would you rather Man United spend on maybe get limited number of players, but maybe get what's considered the best options in those. What do people think? If you've got two options, so what I might do is I'll put a poll in. So I don't want to say quality or quantity because I think that sets the wrong tone. But would you rather Man United signed a lot of players, or do you think we should be looking at it and going, actually, maybe we should just go for top quality? We'll just look through some of the comments. But would you rather go for quality or quantity? Yeah, sometimes like it's been playing up a little bit, so I'll see if I can like close the poll and do a new one, but sometimes it's not letting me do that. Okay, you're right. So end the poll. So I've seen a few people say, at various points, Man United have got a lot of things to do. So if you're looking at getting a few midfield players in, left back, left wing, backup striker, I mean the numbers add up, don't they? So it's like if we're going to spend £250 million, would you rather Man United got seven players in, and then you have to kind of divide that budget by that amount of players, or would you rather get like four players in that are going to cost a lot more individually as well? Yoni says you need a team, not a superhero, seven players minimum. Say six players. So what I might do is I'll do a poll I'll try and like phrase it in a way which makes sense. But it's the best use of, are we thinking about 250 million? Say 250 to 300 million. Okay. I think that's, if you consider player exits, I think that is reasonable. So best use of 250 to 300 million. So I'll put in like four expensive players. But by expensive players, I mean if you're gonna get in too many, Elliot Anderson, so that would be potentially a couple 100 million, and then you might be looking at Lewis Hall. That would be a third one, and then maybe you're probably have to probably gonna have to spend not loads on the fourth player, or seven cheaper players. Where the idea behind seven cheaper players would be that you address every issue in the squad you can think of. You have it so that Man United have a first 11 and then on the bench. So this is going to be players like Edison or Hayden Hackney, or maybe Kadioglu fits into that category as well. If he is like about 35 million, 35, 40 million. So you could be spending a little bit less on the players, but you maybe get more players in. So that's why I'm just going to say four or seven. Because I think if you make it like, well, I can't do every single number, but just as a thought. So what it is like, would you like to see Man United consolidate their position, go for like like raise the baseline of our squad effectively, make it so that the bench has about four or five options that are similar quality to the first team. Okay, so that's like but also you probably have to go a little bit younger. It might be that it might be some of these players are considered backup players, or are you going to go for the best possible quality? Get like if we're going to sign the most expensive midfielders, we're not going to be able to sign. We're not going to be able to go right. Let's get DIOMANDE, who's going to be over 100 million. Let's go for like too many. Elliot Anderson, Lewis Hall, who else is like maybe the Brentford striker as well, or maybe like Krupi Jr. That would be one of the most expensive striking targets. And I think centre back options, maybe Murillo is going to be like the top option. So you're not going to get all those players in, but maybe you could get three of those players in and like a slightly cheaper one. Alex says quality wins games. I mean, I'm not going to say what I think just to see what the poll goes for to start with, but you'd have to imagine like going to get the best possible options, but you wouldn't have as many players in. The difficulty Man United's got is our squad is not particularly deep, so you'd have to be very, very careful on players' injury records, I think. And also, if you're looking at players, they've got to be able to play two or three times a week. So you're looking at when I see players like we're talking about, like say like Barwadi, Edison, Bruno Fernandes, Dallo, there are some players that can just play game after game after game. Kobe Mainu, I'm not sure if we're going to be having a lot of fixtures in a short amount of time. I think sometimes with Manu, I don't want to see him picking up injuries. I think there's some players that will have to be rotated a little bit. Great engine from Fernandez that we're looking at as well. Alex Scott, I think, would be a good option as well. But there's a saying, buy cheap, buy twice. So again, you have to get the scouting. So I would say this, like Agati for me was a waste of money. I know it was cheaper than some players, but a waste of money. And if we're gonna buy cheap, I would probably go instead of going for like lower quality, I'd probably be going for younger, more development, more kind of like a Dorgu, like a Hayden Hackney, where most people would say, okay, those players are going to get better in a couple of years. So if we're going to go cheaper, I would be looking at some prospects rather than. I wouldn't want to be going for people that are on the way down that are cheap for that reason. So I would be going for cheaper players that are going to be younger. So in terms of this as well, you can factor in like an Aiden Heaven type deal where we go for quite cheap players from the academy. So you could look at that as part of going for bigger numbers. So yeah, it's quite a long, rambly way of saying quality or quantity. So yeah, no, definitely like a combination of Eric Ten Hag plus Man United making bad decisions at the time. Let's say Pulp 76 says Agati was part of the Euro deal. I think that was key. Mendes is crazy. To be honest, I'll say this that Man United can get like you can get good quality players that are cheaper, but you tend to have to go for players that are. You probably have to then, for a start, you probably have to look outside the Premier League, and you'd have to look a bit early on in their career. So you would have to get Matheus Fernandes like before he goes to West Ham. You have to get Boadi a year ago. You have to get Sangare maybe straight away now, or maybe like in January. You'd have to go for these deals a little bit quicker, and you'd have to go a bit younger in the market as well. So I think you can get those deals done, but maybe the summer transfer window it makes it more difficult, right? And maybe Man United should have gone for some of these deals in January if possible. And we don't want to be like Chelsea, says Rob. No, I think with United, the difference between United and Chelsea is probably going to be that if Chelsea buy a younger player and they do pretty well, they tend to cash in on them, don't they? So Chelsea are looking at buying players cheap, selling them on. They put them on lowish contracts overall, but on very long contracts. And I think with United, that if Aiden Heaven does really well, I don't see Man United selling Aiden Heaven. If Aiden Heaven goes to Chelsea and plays pretty well, I could see Chelsea then selling him in a couple of years' time for like 50 million, 60 million. If he's a good player for Man United, he doesn't leave the club, as far as I can see. I don't think that's. No. If United do start selling Dorgu and Aiden Heaven, I think we've got a massive problem. But until that happens, I'm assuming that if they're good enough, they're going to stay. Alex says, true, but if you go young, there could be a couple of years learning curve that could backfire. And say a mix is probably better. With like the kind of number of signings, like so if you're going to go for like 6 or 7 signings, then you would be looking at potentially a mix of like for me, I think you could structure it where you get maybe like like room to get a Lewis Hall, but also go for like if you're going to get someone like Elliot Anderson, you can get Hayden Hackney, can't you? So you can get an expensive player plus a cheaper player, but you have to be you might have to compromise on some aspects of the team. And I think with United that there is potential to do that, and this might be the one season where we can actually. People saying that. I think that's a sensible comment, saying that if you buy a younger player, you are going to have to, you are going to have to wait maybe a couple of years. Like Dorgu wasn't ready to start with, was he? Dorgu is actually getting maybe up to the level in the next year. Maybe he's going to be hitting the level we need. But you also, if Man United have got, if we bought 7 players, there would be time. There wouldn't be a pressure for them to actually be first team players, would there? So I'd say we've rarely done that. We've always let players go to other teams first, prove themselves. Thing is, though, we used to get players in, didn't we? We used to get players in, like we got like Lee Sharp, we nicked from Torquay, didn't we? We got, trying to think as an example, we got obviously Wayne Rooney proved himself on day one, but we got Cristiano Ronaldo in as a player that we developed. I think Cristiano Ronaldo had a lot of quality, but he was nowhere near the player that left Man United when he started. No, actually, for some reason I forgot Lamans. Lamans is probably the gold standard of getting good value in the market. So if Man United were capable of doing it, I would be I would be leaning towards it. But to be honest, part of me is wanting. I kind of want to get like a guaranteed quality player. So in terms of this one, the good thing about spending quite big and say the price of the market will be lucky to get four players in. The thing is, it's the same for every team, isn't it? So it's the same for every team. And with this situation, maybe with Man United, if you buy a player that's going to be world class, so if you bought, if you buy someone like Anderson, or you buy Sangare, or you buy I think Brady would be a good option. But if you go for someone that's going to be an obvious good option, like probably Anderson's the one we all agree on, and Anderson's going to be very expensive. But the thing is, you don't have to buy Anderson like in 2027, 2028, do you? You've got Anderson in your squad. So I don't think it's a problem spending, like, if you're going to get the best player, I don't see it being a problem. I would hope that Man United are going to be, yeah, transfer windows are starting to be a bit annoying, aren't they? That I thought Man United did well last transfer window, but it did feel a bit like the same at this stage of the year. It did seem a bit frustrating, and it did seem like we weren't going to be getting much at the moment. If Man United don't get many players in, it's going to be a bit of a concern because we're going to have quite a few more games. If we start getting injuries to key players, we're not going to have backups, and I think that then we're going to struggle a little bit. And it's not going to be. I don't think we can give too much leeway. If Man United have issues next season with injuries and lose key players, I don't think we can have much sympathy for our board and the owners of the club because they know that our squad is pretty thin. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to the not transfer. I'm really looking forward to the Champions League next season. I'm looking forward to seeing how Man United get on because I think we finished the season with a lot of positivity. The team's on an upwards trajectory, but at the moment, like we just have to. Like, I know there's going to be a few. Like, everyone's expecting Liverpool to have a great team, but yeah. Cody says, I think you can have a third option, shrewd quality but a good price. If I put that option out there, everybody wants that, don't they? Everybody wants to get the best possible players at a cheap price. That's what we want. So that's what we want. Um, I don't think Bilal's panicking. I don't think it's panic. I think it's frustration with like the board. Like, it used to be that we heard a little bit about stories and then we got deals done. And I think that the last kind of 5 years has been like really, really slow. Yeah, to be honest, the way Man United move though is embarrassingly slow, isn't it? If you want to be better than last season, it stands to reason. Actually, I would say that if you take it from like January onwards, Man United were the best team since January, weren't they? So, but you have to look at what are the options, like who's leaving our club, who's coming in. There doesn't seem to be any significant departures. If Agate leaves and Xerxes leaves, it's going to be no problem replacing them with better players, is it? Our scouts are actually doing really good. And one thing I've been saying a bit, I don't know if you've heard this poll or other people have heard the same sort of thing, but a few people I know that have, I suppose, what's the word? They know a few scouts personally. They know people that work in the scouting industry, and there's a lot of scouts that are self-employed. So the scouts often don't really work for Man United or work for another club. These scouts actually just scout the player, and then they sell the information to Manchester United, to Arsenal, Liverpool, etc. So quite often, a lot of clubs will have exactly the same information. So players that Man United want to sign, it stands to reason that other people are going to want to sign the same players. So if Man United are well aware that Diomande is very good, Liverpool also know that Diomande is good. There's no surprises in football. All the top teams have the same information. Like we can have a data team, but essentially most data is going to be the data is going to be the same. The data is the data, and the data we have on players will be very much the same as Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, all these other teams are going to have the same amount of data. All it's going to come down to is who makes the decision. So every team has the same information regarding which players are good. It's just about Man United choosing the right options. So that's all it is. It's about Man United making the right decisions. Also, spending the amount of money it requires. Like some of the reasons is going to be because Man United are just not as ambitious as other clubs. And as frustrating as it is, that seems to be the case. So let's have a look at the vote at the moment. So it looks, I'll just close the vote. If anyone's got any final questions, there's not loads of information out there, like I said. So if you've got some questions you want to express just in the chat, please get them in. But in terms of this one, what would you rather go for? 4 expensive players, 7 cheaper players. So it seems clear that Man United fans would rather just go for the best possible player. So it seems a little bit like, what's the best way of putting it? It seems like you want to go for like the best. So I think that's to be honest, actually, that's probably fair. If Man United could get, so we've got Edison presumably done. If we got Matheus Fernandes and got too many and got Lewis Hall, that's 4 players. Would that be a good window? If we got, because we could look at it and say too many replaces Casemiro. Lewis Hall's an upgrade on left back. It feels like we haven't got a very strong squad, but maybe we could be getting one in, one out with we could replace Xerxes, we could replace Agate with much better options. I mean, there was who was it that was saying this? Was it David Ornstein said about 2 weeks ago that the team he saw as being the most busy was Man United. So what the hell's happening? Ineos should sell Dallo, Xerxes, Luke Shaw. So I think we should keep Luke Shaw as a backup. Mason Mount, I think Mason Mount is unsellable based on his contract, but I think Agate is going to go. I think Toby Collier is probably going to go. So I think most of those players will go. Actually, Samuel, I think those players are gone. So Jay Lings, how old is Jay Lings? No, I don't think we should get him back. I thought he was playing in like Korea a year ago. Mark says so. Yeah, just get any comments and questions you got in. Please share the stream if you can, and subscribe if you're new, and all that sort of stuff as well. So we need a squad ready for Champions League, and the way it is right now, we're miles off and in trouble, says Malps. It's fine having up and coming players when you got a senior to help out. I agree, Alex. It's like trying to fix the squad. This squad, for me, this squad doesn't get fixed in 1 year. I think this squad, if we'd have done a couple of deals in January and have a good summer transfer window, I still think it's like another. But I would say in about 18 months' time, this squad should be about there. Like we have to get a good summer transfer window, something done next January, and another good summer transfer window to get enough to get all the positions addressed. So I think at the moment you have to look at what's the most priority, and I think midfield you fix that as best you can. I don't think we're going to be seeing too much. If Anderson wins the World Cup, the price will be 150. Anderson staying at Forest. What's the situation with Anderson? I thought that they were going to be offering 120. So then maybe Nottingham Forest have got ambition. So this is a good question actually. Are West Ham trying to oversell Matheus Fernandes? Are they push? Is the price too high for Fernandes? I mean, also we don't know how much Fernandes is going to go for, or is that just the market? I think a lot of fans, like myself included, I think a lot of people are looking at all the prices and thinking, do you remember when Alanga went for? I think Alanga went for 60 million, and I thought, wow, 60 million for Alanga, and for me, that Matheus Fernandes would be a more useful player. They tend to cost more midfield. You know how we've been talking about Caicedo and Declan Rice as being like the benchmark, but those deals are actually starting to become a few years away now. So the money in football is more. So it stands to reason that transfer fees will go up. If Anderson goes for 130, it's just going to push all the prices up, isn't it? So everything you thought you knew about transfers 2 months ago you probably need to add 15, 20 million pounds. So deals you thought could be done for 55, 60, like Alex Scott, Matheus Fernandes, maybe they are going to be, yeah, maybe 50 million is the new 30, whenever the 30. But what I'm thinking here is that, do you remember Fred for 50 million pounds? Like Fred was 50 million. I think Agate was like 50 million, but euros. Maybe 80 is the new 50, if that makes sense. It could be that what you used to get for 50 million, you're now getting for 80. And what, do you remember when Man United bought Pogba for about 90 million and we had Gareth Bale going for like 80, we had Cristiano Ronaldo? Maybe those sort of deals now are going to be like the 140 million pounds. If Florian Wirtz is 130 million euros, whatever he was, maybe that's setting the precedent now for Elliot Anderson. Because I think Elliot Anderson could be a better player in the Premier League than him. So it sounds ridiculous, but 80 is like the new 50, and maybe 130 is the new 100. So it's almost like in your mind, this is the best way of doing it. In your mind, think of what he should cost and then just add 25% maybe. Maybe is that going to be right? So if you thought it was 60, 75, now actually it could be even worse. Maybe add a third. So if you think a player should cost 60 million pounds, they're going to cost 80. If you think it should be 90, they're going to be 120 and vice versa. So any player that's over 120, they might be knocking on the door of like 140, 150. It seems crazy, but it might be that there's an inevitability about this as well. So Elliot Anderson, but you can make the argument though, couldn't you, Cody, that if Anderson is 130 or 140, then it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's not a similar fee though. It's not a similar fee. 140 million is not the same as 80 million pounds. Like it's getting ridiculous now that it could be that there could be a 50 million pound price difference between Anderson and other midfielders. So I'm not saying we should pay that. I'm just saying that all the prices are crazy, but Man United have to get a deal done. And this feels a bit like every other one as well. That one of the frustrating things for Man United fans, and this is not going to go away either. It's not necessarily the Glazers, but it is about the speed in the window. Where every single transfer window I've been looking at over the last few years on YouTube, prices at the start of the window are always a bit more sensible than prices towards the end of the window. And I don't know why Man United don't go aggressive and go like if West Ham wanted if West Ham wanted 80 million pounds and but they would have taken 70, maybe we could have got that deal agreed like a couple of weeks ago if we'd have gone very aggressive into the window. So it might be a state now. We might be getting towards the stage where Man United and a lot of other clubs are going to start raiding each other's academies, trying to get the best players cheaper before this happens. I think we're going to see a knock on effect. When things go crazy in the window, teams look for ways around this. What we're going to see is like players in different leagues, like say Edison was 34 million, wasn't he? And you got Agume, Angela Stiller, and some of these players you could say Buari was. I think who else was there? There's quite a few players. Sangari is another one as well. And these players in different leagues. A year ago, we talked about them being like cheap options. They might not even be cheap options anymore. They might cost the sort of fees that we thought Premier League players were going to cost. So the players we thought were going to be 30 to 40 million pounds, they might be 50 to 60 now. So it might be that Sangari is like a 60 million pound player. Buari might be a 70 million pound player. And so effectively, everything's more expensive. And Man United have to accept that they need to run the club better and free up more money for transfers because these players are not going to be getting any cheaper. If anything, it does put pressure on a lot of teams to get these deals right. Like you can't spend 130 million pounds on a player and get it wrong as well. I think we can get these deals done. And so United already raiding talent. We're still Liverpool talent. We're still yeah, exactly, Yardi. I was thinking of doing like a short video on that one because I see we're raiding a Liverpool player, a Man City player, and we've already got Aiden Heaven and Cheeto from Arsenal, haven't we? So United are doing this. I think it's was he like 15 or 16 year olds. So United are raiding academies. Other teams will be doing that as well. So let me go back to that list. That whole list was. Let's have a look. I think it's a good list. Like, which are better. I'm just questioning whether the prices get pushed up a lot. So Agume, £30 million, Stiller, £40 million. I just think this play. I just think the prices are going to go up because every player seems to just go up in price in this window. Lewandowski is an interesting one. It'd be interesting. I thought Lewandowski was linked somewhere else. I'm not sure where it was now, but I'll be surprised if he doesn't go somewhere. Just a quick question. Jonathan David, couple of goals in the World Cup, but really poor season with Juve. Do we make the right decision on not getting Jonathan David last season? That I think he only got 4 goals in the domestic league. He wanted a big salary. It would have cost about £20 million of agent fees. Did we make a good decision not to go for him? Juve ruined him. So I haven't watched Juventus, but I was just thinking like a lot of people wanted Jonathan David. It seemed like a cheap deal. I don't know. Did it just is Jonathan David not as good as we thought, or something wrong with Juventus? I don't know. I don't know. I think with this one, like in terms of developing youth, then Amas went on loan, did do quite well. I think Amas just got injured though. I think Leon was signed with like a 3-year plan. I don't think Leon was ever going to hit the first team too quickly. So I don't know. I think if in terms of developing younger players, you probably have to look at Dorgu and Aiden Heaven as the players we're looking at. Um, yeah, no, people love Yildiz, and I don't know whether it's just like the Turkish team looking bad. So I won't say too much about that one. Turkey having had a dreadful World Cup, didn't they? Bring Anthony Marshall back on a free. Do you remember on Red Devil United? And I said probably about how many, maybe like 4 years ago. We had Greenwood, Rashford, Anthony Marshall. I thought we had our team there. I thought we had the most exciting attack force in Europe, and like in terms of the age the players were, and it didn't work out. So I don't know. Anthony Marshall, I'm not sure if it works out again with him. Uh, But it's a shame. I quite liked Anthony Marshall. I thought he had like a really high ceiling. It just didn't really work out. Um, I think Serie A is really poor at the moment. I know a few people that have been watching I know a few people that have watched live games that have been on holiday there, and people that know quite a bit about football. They just say the standard at the moment is really bad. So it's just not great. Inter Milan are the standout team in terms of, and that's showing in Europe as well. They're doing quite well. But Martial better than Welbeck for Andy. Um, yeah, I don't know what Anthony Martial's been up to, but I think Welbeck did quite well last season. Um, would you rather email Jim or meet the Glazers face to face for friendly chat? Oh, I don't know. I don't think there'd ever be a friendly chat between the Glazers. No. I think it's just money wise. Like I don't know what's happening in Italian football, but I think it's like it's got to be financial related. But guys, make sure if you haven't done so, make sure you smash the like. Make sure you share the stream as well. If you can share the stream during the live, it will help get other people in. I don't know if there's going to be enough Man United news. I did see like a few people like United Strand was saying do 2 streams a day. I just don't think there's much information out there. So I don't think we can do multiple Man United streams at the moment when there's a lot of information out there. It might be that we do a short video or something like that. But at the moment, there's just not a lot out there. So if you're in the Discord, there is a pinned link. If you want to get on the Discord, then that would be a great way of sharing information. If you see some stories you think are worth discussing, then so there is the ice cream tier list. I had a mint cornetto yesterday, really good. It was definitely S class. And I don't know, I did have some crisps yesterday that was definitely like up there. It was definitely first team squad level. Um, but no, what I might do is I might try and do a call-in show if there's interest in it. I know that at the moment the World Cup is like this relentless beast of like four. I'm watching the highlights for every match. It's still taking like about 45 minutes in the morning just to watch highlights of matches I've missed. It's kind of different level though, Bilal. It's kind of different level. When something happens at AC Milan or Inter, things happen, don't they? But a football quiz, yeah, maybe a football quiz, maybe the football bingo. I'll have to look into that and see how it works as well. Italian academies suck now. If you remember though, I'll say this quickly. If you're old enough to remember like prime Serie A and like prime Serie A, then I think the best era of Italian football, effectively, it was by buying the best players from around Europe, wasn't it? So if you think about the best AC Milan team, it's going to have Ruud Gullit, Van Basten, and Rijkaard in it. So the best Italian team is going to have like Dutch players in it. And I can't remember who it was. Was it Inter Milan that signed a few German players? So the best players in Serie A in the 90s were not really Italian. That you could have like Gaza went there. We had who are the best striker? Batistuta, like Batigol at Fiorentina. So I think the best players in that league were not necessarily were not necessarily Italian. So mid early 90s. Yeah, I'd say like the AC Milan team of the very late 80s, like very late 80s that went unbeaten, that won the one that won the European Cup by smashing the crap out of Barcelona. That's kind of like the era. But those players in Italy, they were not Italian, so it was very much they imported the best quality players. Ian Rush was at Juve. I'm trying to think of other examples, but they got the best players from around the world, didn't they? Yeah, I can't say the same thing with Isabella. I mean, you whole outside die. Sometimes I wonder about this, where sometimes like in the comments you're telling me about the amount of whiskey you consume, and now whiskey and ice cream does not sound like the best diet. It sounds like it might be quite nice, but in the short term, I think long term this might not be ideal. Um, that's what I'll say. I'm not here to give dietary advice, but maybe some of the group games though, some of the group games I've seen, if you're staying up to 3 in the morning watching, I don't know who it was, like so like Ghana versus I don't know like Paraguay or there's some games where you probably need that to get through. Yeah. I mean, have you thought about putting ice cream into your whiskey, like a little bit? Um, Might be okay with vanilla, possibly. Yeah, it might help get you through the group stage. Drinking water, that's the other extreme. That's the Cristiano Ronaldo. So Cristiano Ronaldo is all about the water. United side die, whiskey and ice cream, two extremes. But United side die, he's not at the World Cup holding Portugal back, is he? So he can do what he wants. Whiskey ice cream is actually good. Do you mean like this like whiskey flavored ice cream? Okay, so that's the end. Like 5 minutes food chat. That's kind of what the budget is for this one. Ben and Jerry's chocolate chip cheese and onion crisps. Now those are two flavors I'm not sure I'd want to mix. To be honest. I used to quite like the one that had the is it fish food and cookie dough. They're obviously elite flavors. Um, Whiskey vanilla that does sound actually quite nice. Actually, if you get some like a Glenmorangie, a little bit of vanilla ice cream might be quite nice. I don't have either of those in the house, but so the best way to get rid of the glazes is not by merchandise. Stop going to the mega store, rip up season tickets, and boycott outside the stadium. Well, I'm kind of in my own house, so I'm not really doing too many of those. The thing is, I think it's difficult. Like, there's always going to be fans. There's always going to be. Then I don't know what the best way of getting rid of the glazes are because if people do that, then unless everybody does it, it'll never really happen. So I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know. I know a few season ticket holders, Kylie, but season ticket holders are just going to be season ticket holders. They're not going to be. Yeah. Do To be honest, I don't really. It's mint ice cream. To be honest, I'm not really a fan of vanilla. It's a bit bland. I was just thinking, if you're going to drop something in whiskey, though, I wouldn't be putting mint. I was going to say I wouldn't put mint ice cream in whiskey. I'm not a psychopath, but a bit of vanilla might be okay. One game without an audience would shake things up. It would be quite good to see if the fans actually did that. And so United have got around 1.1 billion fans who would love a season ticket. There's a big waiting list, isn't there? I mean, this isn't like Man City, where Man City fans look like they're protesting at every European match, don't they? And nothing changes there. Maybe that's it. Maybe Man City fans are actually running a secret protest that we didn't realise about. So it could be that every time there's a European match, Man City fans actually do a bit of a protest and don't turn up, and that makes City buy more players. Who knows? Who knows? It could just be they haven't got many fans, and I think that's probably be a little bit more likely than we're thinking. Big up to you, Clive. How are you doing? Maybe this is one for you, Clive. Before I was about to wrap up the stream, but this is for you, Clive. Liverpool offering like 115 million for DIOMANDE. I don't know, Clive. You are a Liverpool fan, I'm pretty sure, aren't you, Clive? What's it like supporting a team that actually buys players, Clive, and actually puts their money where their mouth is? How does it feel, Clive? We're kind of yeah, we've kind of got these rare breed of like billionaires that have no money, which is a really frustrating thing. But no, it must be quite nice for you, Clive, where your team's actually spending money and looking to try and do things. So it makes a change. You guys spent about 500 million last summer. Could we all like pay a fiver and buy the club then, Yali? That's 6 billion, isn't it? Or we'll all pay £10 and buy the Glazers out and own a bit of Man United. Ronaldo, it's up to Ronaldo. It's up to the Portuguese manager not to choose Ronaldo, isn't it? So I can't say too much about the situation. Real Madrid's got between 400 to 700 million fans. We're almost double as large as Real Madrid. Are we really? I think you could get enough. Like, how many fans would you need to like chip in a tenner? How many fans would you need to if they were going to put in a grand? I suppose for 1,000 fans, that would be a million, wouldn't it? So if Man United wanted to sell the club, the thing is though, if you had fan owned club, there's no way anything would get decided. That I've done enough YouTube streams during the transfer window to know that there's pretty much no agreement on any transfer, so it would still be quite difficult to get things done. We would have bought Anderson though. I think Man United fans, we would have bought Anderson. That's one thing we did agree on. So 100k stadium is too small for United. It needs to be 200k. Yeah. And regarding this one though, what are the bigger club stadiums in the world? Like 200, 100,000 is a lot. But any final questions before we wrap up? I think an hour and a quarter is going to be stream time limit. Look at the Dorgu debates. Yeah, people just won't agree on many things, will they? I would advocate a 50+1 model. Maybe with this one, if you had fan owned club, maybe what you'd have to have then would be an election for some of the people in charge, because maybe it would be a bit like Real Madrid, where you'd have to have like someone that's going to be have like because it'd be very difficult to see how you'd make decisions. But no, it seems to work okay in Germany, but then the Bundesliga is sort of falling behind a little bit as well. Apparently, there's a 75k waiting list. Is this for like yeah, there's always a big waiting list for Man United, isn't there? Can we have a timeline to move to panic stations so we can calm down? I don't know. It's up to individual people. Liverpool only got 30 fans. Liverpool got quite a pretty big fan base, like a really big fan base. So I don't think there's going to be any watch longs tonight. I think tonight's going to be like a day off for people, but we will try and do. Hand on heart, do I truly believe the owners and the board have ambitions to win the Premier League, or are they full of it? Um, okay, I keep saying this. I don't trust the owners of the club. So until we lift the Premier League, or until we start signing players where I think are going to be better than Man City players, better than Arsenal players, I don't think I don't trust them at all. So I can't say I believe we're going to be trying to win the Premier League. We should be. I think it's stupid not to. Man United is such a big club. If Man United won trophies, then we could both we you know we could get a team that can win trophies, and the owners can get a team that can effectively print money. So it seems stupid that Man United have owners that are not trying to do it. If that's the case, I mean they keep spinning it loads of crap out there, don't they? And we never seem to show the ambition that we should be. So I can't say I think we're truly going to be doing that cake. I can't say that. I can show support. I can be enthusiastic for some of the players we're linked to, or some of the players we signed recently. But I can't say that if like it still feels like we're showing less ambition than City, less ambition than Liverpool, and at the moment we're doing less deals than Arsenal, aren't we? I can't say too much. Liverpool got around. I think Liverpool and Man United, like Man United's got the most support around the world, but I'm pretty sure that Liverpool's like not that far behind. And then Arsenal are going to be third, aren't they? I think they're the three biggest teams in England. Real Madrid's got to be up there as the only team that can compete, I think, worldwide in terms of fan base. Yeah, Holland versus Sweden, I'll probably watch that game. Christopher Vell is, uh, I think some of the people behind the scenes, I think the coaches are doing quite a good job. I think Michael Carrick's done a decent job, but again, he's going to be tested quite a lot as well. We're going to negotiate Fernandes for 10 weeks. God's sake. If you're in the Discord, please share some information on things you want to talk about because I'm not going to talk about Mathis Flanders every single day for 10 weeks. It might it might be something that's on other channels, but no. I'm only going to move to two streams a week, sorry, two streams a day when news starts coming out, or I'm just going to pick a different story and just do something different every day. I think the coaches and I think some of the players are doing a decent job. Not all of them, but I think the coaches I think have done a really good job since they came in, and hopefully that continues. But again, it's going to be a really long season, isn't it? Unfortunately, the transfer windows feels like a really long one as well. Madrid, United, Barca. I don't know. I think Liverpool are a bigger team than Barcelona, or maybe historically. I don't know fan base wise worldwide. I'm not sure Barcelona. Maybe when they had Messi, but I think Liverpool got more fans around the world than Barcelona. You think Barcelona's success in Europe is relatively recently, isn't it? Early 90s, mid 2000s, like for their Champions Leagues. I think real Liverpool have got real history going back a lot longer. So I think fan base wise, Man United, Liverpool, Real Madrid got to be the three biggest teams. It must be up there. Must be up there. Yes, City though, 2 years without a title for City. Some of those fans will be disappearing. I think. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If you watch, so Um, is this like someone else's fake account or is this a new viewer? If you are new, but someone just check that out. I mean, we are getting a few people that keep renaming their accounts. We will be blocking people if you impersonate people, just so people know. Liverpool slightly bigger. I think they are slightly bigger. They are slightly. slightly bigger than Barcelona as a fan base, and I think that um, yeah, just looking through the comments, if anyone's got so City can't fill their stadium, so they might have a fan base globally, but City can't fill their stadium, and when they stop winning the league, people would be disappearing from them, won't they? So maybe the best thing to do is maybe at some point we should have like a transfer summary stream. But people with suggestions of streams, we could do a tier list actually. If you want to go, is there any interest in doing a tier list based on the squad about which players we should keep, trash, etc.? If there is, we could do that maybe. But I will be looking to like a few ideas based on what's happening. Because if the transfer window is going to be very very low information, I don't know how many we can keep doing. Liverpool fans left after last season, says Andy. They signed like so many good players though. And it's not long since they won the league. I think Liverpool just have historical fans, don't they? They have a lot of fans that have been fans for a long time. This is true. This is true that some fans have never seen us win. But this is kind of where Liverpool were, wasn't it? Before Liverpool got Klopp, this is the situation they had where they'd gone 30 years without winning. So, I mean, Arsenal fans have had something similar until this season as well. So, should we flirt with Stiller? I just don't see anything regarding this one either. So, Dan, I'm sure probably get new contracts. Yeah, if this happens, then I don't know. It's going to be. I'll say Yali. I know a couple of people that got free tickets to go and watch them, and they're Man United fans. So the stadium might be full, but for European matches, they do have to give away tickets. But no, I think I could kind of see it happening. I think Dallow's more likely to get a contract than Luke Shaw. But if Luke Shaw, Dallow, Maguire, and everyone's on a new contract, it is going to seem a bit like we're just not able to get new players in. It does seem to be. What are we doing if Luke Shaw gets a new contract? I don't know. I think we're just. I don't think we're on the whiskey and ice cream. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I think we're going to head off. Yeah, no, it could be Yali. It could be. Um, I don't know what we'll do. We'll probably just watch the World Cup and hope that something, hopefully something happens quite soon. Well, I did think of like a week ago we'd hear about the Fernandez deal, but it went a bit quiet. So I don't know. I don't know. If something new comes out, though, I'll try and get onto it quite quickly. Like I said, please like check out the Discord if you're on Discord, and then you can share information there if you see something good. But then, guys, have a great rest of your day. Make sure to get on the ice cream and whiskey if it's hot where you are, and we'll be back probably tomorrow, depending on what news comes out. Potentially there's a very slim chance we might do something later in the night, but we'll have to see. If there's no new news, then there'll be no new streams, unfortunately. And then, guys, thank you for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.